If you use Twitter, you are well aware of its power for good and bad.
Before Elon Musk bought it, Twitter wasn't so much a social media site as
It's a community of people that just love to hate, and that's all they like to do.
Twitter is much more toxic and controversial than you think, and there's a deeper, darker reason behind it. While most people know Twitter, now X, to be a social media that turned toxic recently, that's not the truth. Instead, Twitter has been contaminated since its inception, starting from the very disturbing story of its founder that will shock you. My name is John, and for the past 25 years, I have been exposing the deepest, darkest secrets of the digital world. And frankly, when I was researching this documentary, I found out truths that the mainstream media is too afraid to talk about. You won't find the clips of these controversies anywhere on YouTube, so stick to the end because this is about to be wild. Today, we're exposing the dark side of X, formerly Twitter, and how a platform that was supposed to connect us destroyed us. Before Elon's rule on Twitter, it was a little different. But have you ever wondered why no one talks about the platform's founder? When we think about Apple, Steve Jobs pops up in our minds, even though Tim Cook is the current CEO. But with Twitter, that's not entirely the case. Twitter was built on betrayal, and you'll be shocked to find out how. This is the story of Noah. After this story, you will understand why it is one of the most toxic platforms in the world. Arguments, fights, toxicity, cancellations, and questionable videos happen every single day. But there's a good reason for that. You see, I went down the rabbit hole to find out that Twitter was always toxic, even before it was completed. This multi-billion-dollar social media was built on betrayal. It all starts with Noah Glass, a name that you might need to become more familiar with. But what if I tell you that this is the guy who actually started Twitter? Would you be surprised? Noah Glass had a podcasting platform called Odeo, which Evan Williams was the CEO of back in 2005. But podcasts weren't top-rated then, which is why Odeo suffered from its demise. That's where Noah was heartbroken because they needed an idea to keep doing business in the digital world. That's why he spent all night out drinking with an employee named Jack Dorsey. But he didn't expect things to turn out the way they would. Shortly after this, he would face the biggest nightmare of his life. That night, they got the perfect idea, which is known as Twitter today. The initial draft of Twitter impressed everyone because it was a platform that would run even on mobile phones. If you remember, smartphones were just being introduced to the market at that time. After launching this idea, the public response needed to be more apparent. They didn't really like the idea at first because it seemed like a gimmick. Plus, there were privacy concerns, and change scared everyone. But Noah kept pushing on and turned Twitter into reality. Soon after that, Twitter started to gain a vast user base in little to no time. It came to a point where Noah wanted to finish Odeo and make Twitter his primary business. He didn't know this would cost him his entrepreneurship. Things took a turn for the worse there. Evan flipped Noah's life upside down. Since Evan owned this company, he suddenly fired Noah. This changed Noah's life as everything that he built, from Odeo to Twitter, was taken from him for no sound reason. Sad and depressed once again, he spent a night out with Jack Dorsey and told him what had happened. At that point, Jack comforted him, but he later became the CEO of Twitter when it was Twitter, which was a betrayal on top of Noah's betrayal. It was revealed that Jack was the person who asked Evan to fire Noah and even threatened to leave the company if Noah was still there. To this, Noah said the following words: "I felt betrayed by my friends, by my company, by these people around me I trusted and with whom I had worked hard to create something, and I was a little shell-shocked. I was like, wait, what's the value in building these relationships if this is the result? So I spent a lot of time by myself, working on things alone." The only explanation for Noah's betrayal that makes sense is one of two things: power or money. You see, Noah was Twitter's second in command, and with Noah gone, Evan and Jack would have everything, and Noah would be left with nothing. His story tells us everything we need to know about the story, and when the founders are like that, their creation would be far from them. But why exactly is Twitter so toxic? Now, I present to you all the reasons why Twitter has become a hellhole for anyone looking for positivity in the digital world. One of Twitter's darkest sides is the spread of misinformation. For a long time, and even today, tweets containing misinformation are 70% more likely to be retweeted than truthful tweets. This is a big reason why Twitter is so toxic. But the prime example would be the pro-Putin bots that dominate Russian political talk on Twitter. Research in 2014 and 2015 indicated that 45% or 585,000 of the election tweets were bots. This should be enough of an indicator to make us understand how misinformation can spread and potentially destroy a platform's trust. Can we even understand the gravity of the misinformation these bots spread, which might have scaled manipulation at a faster rate? Twitter's dark side is that it attracts misinformation the most. Misinformation gets clicked more because it is designed to entice the audience more believably. In other words, Twitter has become a significant hub of misinformation, and it's easier to spread fake news because it goes viral quickly. Sometimes, even political figures and influencers use their audience to attack a particular group and cause some misinformation, such as what happened with Dylan Danis trying to expose Logan Paul's girlfriend. Even though it was supposed to be a joke, many people believed the misinformation, destroying Logan Paul and his girlfriend's reputation. But that's not all. Psychologically, a bigger reason is there that breeds negativity on the platform. It is the limited character count. While on the surface it looks like it is built to stop spam or oversaturation on the platform, this limitation creates misunderstandings, leading to negativity and conflicts. Let's say you fight with someone but are only limited to writing 280 characters. How will you define the whole incident here? Incomplete posts can cause a lot of misinformation, hostile propaganda, and especially misinterpretation when it comes to politicians and public figures like celebrities. When you create a thread and millions of small messages, people tend to lose interest, ultimately defeating the purpose of the limited character count. Was it done for a purpose, or was it done to protect Twitter's environment? We might never know. To make things worse, we have a more significant issue: hate speech. Hate speech increased primarily after Elon Musk joined the scenario. A study showed us that Elon joining Twitter increased the number of hate tweets from 84 times per hour to a whopping 4,778 times, which is such a huge increase. Social media in general attracts hate speech, but with Twitter, it's a lot more amplified. Especially after Elon Musk allowed free speech on Twitter, everyone is now saying anything that comes to their mind, which itself is quite controversial. With Elon Musk, it seems like the transition from Twitter to X has become an even bigger issue. But if you observe astutely, you will understand Elon Musk's big plan. Ever since Elon Musk started Tesla, we confirmed one significant aspect of his plot. Elon is not what you think he is. If you think about it carefully, soon, the transport system will be controlled by Elon because he's the one who made Tesla. Soon, all car manufacturers will move towards electric vehicles. You will be surprised to know that by 2035, all cars in Europe will be zero emission. This means that Tesla will become one of the leading cars in that region. Then, Elon also has SpaceX. There's also a space travel company, Neuralink, the human science company, and even the Boring Company. After buying X, Elon is slowly taking over the world by ensuring that the most valuable sources of power go to him. That is his plot to rule the world by buying X. X is the platform that now gives Elon the power to reach the masses. But after buying the platform, it revealed an even darker side of X. As much as everyone, especially Elon, loves this word, it comes with a host of problems. Elon's primary reason for joining X was to initiate freedom of speech. With hundreds of millions of users on the platform, freedom of speech bred chaos, which ultimately took the online world by storm. Free speech on X means that you will encounter all opinions, no matter how offensive they might be to you. When you make Twitter a platform where everyone can say anything, then we have some of the controversial figures spreading hate and misinformation and destroying the ecosystem. Freedom of speech can be a potent tool when it comes to the real world. In social media, it has been causing problems that are increasingly becoming bigger every single day. After Elon allowed all speech legal on X, we saw abuse, violent rhetoric, misinformation, and most of all, harassment into play. Not only that, but free speech spooked advertisers, which is why many of them left social media, and that's how X lost considerable revenue. Moreover, due to several controversial figures brought back to X, many people left the platform, and we saw an actual decrease in the number of total users on the platform.
Elon Musk, he's finally succeeded in removing the verified blue ticks on Twitter.
What was once considered a symbol of verification has turned into a subscription model. Shortly after joining X, Elon realized what a grave mistake he had made. In order to take control of the media, he lost a significant amount of his net worth. But he had to do something to recover the lost amount over the whole X deal. Enter the subscription model. You see, shortly after purchasing Twitter and turning it into X, Elon turned it into a subscription model where anyone could get the famous blue tick. It only backfired because people then started impersonating celebrities. Scammers were on the rise because now they had a new identity that would let them scam innocent X users who were just transitioning and adjusting to the change. This marked the downfall of the blue tick, and it would forever be lost as a symbol of the status of the past when users had to earn it. Once hailed as the news channel replacement, X has lost credibility over the past couple of years. After the spread of misinformation, which has become more common than ants, people are now leaving X. But on top of that, many news organizations that once used to show credible information are also leaving it. Due to Elon's controversial experiment with X, many advertisers also left the platform. Josie Hollingsworth, an audience engagement editor for PolitiFact, also recognized that journalism on X is not the same as it once was. She insisted that we should step away from X as it is not ideal for news reports to look for credible information every single day. If you've seen X's entire transitional period, you must know that hate speech continues to flourish on the platform and is progressively becoming toxic. X fails to remove posts that contain hate speech even though it is notified that the content violates the company's current hateful conduct guidelines. We thought that it would fix X after Elon bought it, but due to freedom of speech, hate speech has become so tangled into the whole narrative that it is almost impossible to distinguish. We also saw the comeback of many controversially famous figures like Andrew Tate, Kanye West, and Donald Trump, even though they were banned from other platforms for spreading so much hate and sometimes even misinformation. The former President of the United States, Donald Trump, also flipped out in one of the following tweets. According to this tweet, he argued that while Twitter may be a private company, without the power of the government or his blessing, the platform won't exist for so long. There was a long battle between the platform and many controversial figures. But after Elon Musk turned Twitter into X, he brought back controversy after controversy. This just goes to show us that X is not as bright as it seems. Behind the shiny little platform, we have a deep, dark secret that could hurt millions and even cause problematic issues in society. It was built on betrayal, and to this date, it promotes misinformation and fake news and hate speech. And even after Twitter transitioned towards X under Elon's rule, Things like freedom of speech has changed content moderation, news channels are leaving, and there's actually increase in hate speech, which is making the platform even more toxic. Which documentary would you like to see next? Comment below. If you're interested in more mini documentaries like these, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon.